Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany, and if you don't know, I'm a member of the Stats on Stats podcast, and what we get to do is we get to go out to events like today's CyberX Tampa Bay 2025 event and talk to people in the community. And we're talking to Charlton.
That's right.
Today, who is you're the owner of TampaDevs?
I'm the co-founder of TampaDevs. I'm also the co-founder of PacFiles, which is an enterprise software company that develops migration solutions. I've done a lot in the security industry. I've done a lot in software engineering. I have a colorful background that spans like 10 years of work. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. All in here in the Tampa Bay area?
Mostly, yeah. A little. So I've lived in Cincinnati a bit. I've lived in Orlando a little bit. But Tampa Bay is my home. I love this area.
Gotcha. So could you tell people a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day?
Yeah, so right now with TampaDevs, what we're working on is getting ourselves set up for the next 5 years of impact. So we were founded in September of 2021. We built ourselves up from a tiny little meetup group of, maybe a dozen people at a bar to, these days, we've got all kinds of different programs. We reach over 5,000 developers in this region. We have a mentorship program. We just launched a free public cloud project that all in was like a $1.2 million project. So we're making that accessible to students at different educational institutions across the Tampa Bay area and for other meetup groups and so on that want to do workforce development. Now they have infrastructure to make that happen. We provide recruiting services and career development services, and the goal, kind of the grand scheme is we want to make it as easy as possible for highly technical people in Tampa Bay to find a home and a community, to upskill, to reach their full potential and their professional dreams. And on the flip side of that, for the business community, we want to make it as easy as possible for folks to have access to very high quality talent that is based in this region. So we want to develop that here, we want to maintain that here. We want to direct those incredible people towards this, very vibrant startup ecosystem that's taken root in Tampa Bay in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you're doing everything. First, what led you? Because you have to, I believe, have a true dedication to helping others in order to go from a small meetup to something so large and just helping so many people. What inspired you to go out and start this meetup and then start working with people?
I either was very naive or like have some sort of disease maybe. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's certainly the kind of thing where in order to pursue that for a long period of time, you need to have a lot of passion for the mission and a desire to like really have the impact. So I guess for us, you could look at it as maybe scope creep, but really what it is we just kept finding new opportunities to have a larger and larger impact. And I think part of that is, the track record that we have and the trust that people continued to give us, and more resources over time. In a sense, I think it's about taking those opportunities that you have and the resources that you have and then using them to some constructive end that can help people. And I just enjoy that intrinsically.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any, I'm sure you have some stories. Do you have any success story that you're like, you know what, this is exactly the reason that I started this?
Yeah, so we host hackathons. We've done two or three hackathons. We did one in 2022 at Embark that had about 120 participants. And then the second one that we did was in 2024. That was Bay Hacks. We had about 250 participants. And being in a room full of people that are just hunched over their laptops building incredible things, and then at the end of that, they actually pitched their project to a panel of judges, and we had prizes and things that we handed out. It was incredible because it's sort of giving people this limited experience of what it's like to build a startup. And the goal with that, obviously you want to see people build cool things and you want to get people together so that they can learn and create things together. But the other part of that is we want to inspire people to actually go out and kind of make a dent on Tampa Bay, right? Teaching them that it's possible to get a group of people together and have a vision and translate that into something that is tangible in a limited span of time. That's something that they can experience and then think about how they would scale that up into maybe a real company one day, if that's their inclination.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So
Thank you.
what does coming to events like this, how does that play into what you're doing for Tampa Dev?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm very passionate about cybersecurity. That's been a core thread in my career basically this whole time.
Absolutely.
I love software engineering, but I'm also really good at application security. And it comes back to my desire to sort of help people do better, right? I look at application security as a discipline as fitting under the quality assurance umbrella. It's essentially a focused form of QA testing. And a lot of security experts, I think, would be a bit hesitant to adopt that label because they want it to be this like sexy, glitzy thing that's like very mysterious. But we're really just focused on the quality of software as it relates to security bugs and flaws, right? And so helping development teams with that, when I was a senior application security consultant at GuidePoint for several years, I'm working with large financial institutions. I'm finding issues in, their platforms and their applications that affect their customers' well-being, right? So it's like I'm pulling people's grandma's tax records and stuff. And, it's better for them to find that in a controlled environment, right? And for them to be able to quickly address and triage the problem so that they can keep their customers safe, right? I think that as a discipline in software engineering, we don't necessarily approach it with the same level of care that maybe civil engineers would approach building a bridge, right? Civil engineers, they build a bridge wrong, it collapses and people die, and that's a whole environmental disaster as well. In the software engineering space, you look at all these breaches that happen where it's tens of millions of social security numbers that get leaked, or there was an app I think recently called T. There was an app for women, and they leaked, I think, something like 10,000 government-issued IDs of their users, right? And that, to me, is malpractice. It's completely unacceptable.
I hear you.
Absolutely unacceptable. So I think that it's incumbent on, software engineering as a discipline to do a lot better. And the same is also true for security practitioners. And this is a thing that I sort of noticed in my time really focused in the security industry. I came into that as a software engineer and a developer, right? And I noticed that a lot of my colleagues did not necessarily have that background, and they kind of hate developers. And on the flip side, you've got developers that hate the security team, and it's hard for them to work together effectively.
I hear you.
And so for me, I want to help build bridges, between those two, areas of practice, because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, right? We want to ship high-quality software that keeps our users and our customers safe and protects them from all manner of different malicious things, right? So it's important, as a software engineer and also a security practitioner, like engaging with these communities and just kind of helping, bridge those cultures, ultimately translates ideally to a future where they're able to work more closely and more effectively together.
Okay, I've definitely seen the challenge, because we're trying to talk security and we, want to make sure this environment is secure, and then it seems, I think, to developers like we're trying to slow them down or put road bumps in the way. So when you think about conversations that you've had before or leading into conversations to try and help bridge that gap, what's one piece of advice you have for new developers who are going to start working in this field?
So that's a great question. To unpack kind of the larger picture, though, so I've done a lot with cybersecurity training. I've built application security trainings for very large companies and trained their teams and so on. And there's sort of a disconnect, or I guess it's information asymmetry between the two areas of practice, right? On the security side, you have folks that know a lot about different classes of bugs and flaws in the realm of security, and they know how to draw on tools like threat modeling, for example, and have this intrinsic understanding of risk. And on the side of developers, they don't necessarily have all of those tools at their disposal, and they can look at it as sort of a dark art at times. But I think it's because the security folks don't always come to the table with like empathy and compassion for the developers and an understanding of their actual workflow.
Don't listen to Charlton.
And I'm not saying they're all like that. I'm not saying they're all like that. But what we have to do as security professionals is we need to understand where we fit in the software development lifecycle and how we can be vendors of best practices and manage configurations and tool chains and so on that help those developers do their work faster, right? You want to put guardrails and things in place that get out of their way and accelerate their development processes. And I have a lot of very strong opinions about that. And I've done that successfully many times over. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
For anybody who's listening,
Sure.
One small key of advice for networking events, like why are these important for?
Yeah. So the key to successfully showing up to a network event is just literally come in and talk to people. And that's hard, because I think a lot of folks, especially in technical disciplines, tend to be a bit more introverted. I used to be a lot like that. Like in grade school, they'd call on me to read a passage from a textbook and my legs would shake, right? No. But over time, I sort of realized how important social skills are, not just in our career development, but in every aspect of our lives, right? Yeah. It all ties back to the relationships that we have with people and our ability to communicate with them effectively. And so I started prioritizing developing that skill set more. And I eventually got to a place where I'm comfortable just walking up to people and talking to them and having an open mind about discussions, and think of it less as maybe a scary thing and more of as an opportunity, right? If you sort of shift your perspective from, this is a really, anxiety-inducing interaction that I'm about to have, to this is something that, I could potentially have a lot of really positive takeaways from, and maybe, learn some new things, challenge some perspectives that I have. That was something that helped me a lot. And the other thing that's helpful is, you never have to worry about walking up to someone, and if they treat you poorly, you can always walk away, right? Don't waste your time talking to someone that doesn't want to talk to you, or is giving you a hard time, or, kind of like negging you, as it were. Like if someone is clearly not respecting you, or trying to facilitate some learning, or just generally trying to inspire you in some way, or give you knowledge in some way, then you have a whole room full of other people that you could go talk to, right? Yeah. And so you're always in control in that sense. Like, don't waste your time on people that don't want to give you the time of day.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for giving us time.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody else, thank you. See you next time.
Have a good one.